Zoom submenu. The Zoom submenu contains options for zooming in the project window. To open the Zoom submenu, select Edit Zoom. The following options are available. Zoom in / zoom out. Zooms in / out one step, centering on the project cursor. Zoom full. Zooms out so that the whole project is visible. The whole project means the timeline from the project start to the length set in the project setup dialog. Zoom to selection. Zooms in horizontally and vertically so that the current selection fills the screen. Zoom to selection, horizon. Zooms in horizontally so that the current selection fills the screen. Zoom to event. Zooms in to show the currently selected event. This option is available in the sample editor and in some MIDI editors. Zoom in vertically / zoom out vertically. Zooms in / out one step vertically. Zoom in tracks / zoom out tracks. Zooms the selected tracks in / out one step vertically. Zoom selected tracks. Zooms in vertically on the selected tracks and minimizes the height of all other tracks. Undo zoom / redo zoom. These options allow you to undo / redo the last zoom operation. Related links. Zoom submenu. Zooming in on audio contents. Zoom presets. Zoom presets. You can create zoom presets to set up different zoom settings. For example, you can create a zoom preset that displays the entire project and a second zoom preset with a high zoom factor for detailed editing. The Zoom Presets pop-up menu allows you to select, create, and organize zoom presets. To open the Zoom Presets pop-up menu, click the button to the left of the horizontal zoom control. The upper part of the menu lists the zoom presets. To save the current zoom setting as a preset, open the Zoom Presets pop-up menu and select Add. In the Type in Preset Name dialog that opens, type in a name for the preset and click OK. To apply a preset, select it from the Zoom Presets pop-up menu. To display the entire project, open the Zoom Presets pop-up menu and select Zoom Full. This displays the project from the project start time to the project length as set in the project setup dialog. To delete a preset, open the Zoom Presets pop-up menu and select Organize. In the dialog that opens, select the preset in the list and click Delete. To rename a preset, open the Zoom Presets pop-up menu and select Organize. In the dialog that opens, select a preset from the list and click Rename. Type in a new name for the preset. Click OK to close the dialogs. Important. Once set, Zoom presets are available for all projects that you open or create. Zoom submenu. Zooming in on cycle markers. Zooming in on cycle markers. You can zoom in on the area between cycle markers in the project. Prerequisite. You have created at least one cycle marker for the project. Procedure. Click the button to the left of the horizontal zoom control to open the Zoom Presets pop-up menu and select a cycle marker. The middle part of the pop-up menu lists any cycle markers that you have added to the project. Result. The event display is zoomed in to encompass the marker area. Related links. Markers window. Zoom presets. Zoom history. Zoom history. You can undo and redo zoom operations. This enables you to zoom in several steps and then easily go back to the zoom stage at which you started. You can undo and redo zoom operations in the following ways. To undo zoom, select Edit Zoom, Undo Zoom or double-click with the Zoom tool. To redo zoom, select Edit Zoom, Redo Zoom or press Alt/Opt and double-click with the Zoom tool. Zooming in on cycle markers. Snap function. Snap function. The snap function helps you to find exact positions when editing in the project window. It does this by restricting horizontal movement and positioning to certain positions. Operations affected by snap include moving, copying, drawing, sizing, splitting, range selection, etc. To activate/deactivate snap, activate/deactivate snap on the toolbar. Zoom history. Setting the snap point. Setting the snap point. You can set the snap point at any position of the audio event. Procedure. Select an event. Position the project cursor within the selected audio event. Select audio snap point to cursor. Result. The snap point is set at the cursor position. The snap point for an event is displayed as a vertical line in the project window. Note. You can also set the snap point in the sample editor. Related links. Adjusting the snap point. Snap point. Snap function. Snap to zero crossing. Snap to zero crossing. Splitting and resizing of audio events can lead to sudden amplitude changes that might cause pops and clicks. To avoid this, activate snap to zero crossing to snap to points where the amplitude is zero. To activate snap to zero crossing, activate snap to zero crossing on the toolbar. Setting the snap point. Snap types menu. Snap types menu. You can select between different snap types to determine the snap point. To open the snap type pop-up menu, click snap type on the toolbar. The following snap types are available. Grid. The snap points are set with the grid type pop-up menu. The options depend on the primary time format. If you select seconds as ruler format, time-based grid options are available. If you select bars plus beats as ruler format, musical grid options are available. Grid relative. Events and parts are not magnetic to the grid. Rather, the grid determines the step size for moving the events. This means that a moved event keeps its original position relative to the grid. For example, if an event starts at the position March 4th 01 with snap set to grid relative and grid type set to bar, you can move the event in steps of 1 bar to the positions April 4th 01, May 4th 01, and so on. Note. This only applies to dragging existing events or parts. When you create new events or parts, this snap type works like grid. Events. If this option is activated, the start and end positions of other events and parts become magnetic. This means that if you drag an event to a position near the start or the end of another event, it is automatically aligned with the start or end of the other event. For audio events, the position of the snap point is also magnetic. This includes marker events on the marker track. Shuffle. Shuffle is useful when you want to change the order of adjacent events. If you have two adjacent events and drag the first one to the right past the second event, the two events change places. The same principle works when changing the order of more than two events. Cursor. This grid type causes the project cursor to become magnetic. Dragging an event near the cursor causes the event to be aligned with the cursor position. Grid plus cursor. This is a combination of grid and cursor. Events plus cursor. This is a combination of events and cursor. Events plus grid plus cursor. This is a combination of events, grid, and cursor. Related links. Selecting the primary time format. Snap to zero crossing. Grid type menu. Grid type menu allows you to specify a grid type that determines the grid and snap resolution in the event display. Note: this setting only has an effect if snap type is set to one of the grid options. To open the grid type pop-up menu, click grid type on the toolbar. If you select bars plus beats as display format, the following grid types are available. Bar sets the grid and snap resolution to bars. Beat sets the grid and snap resolution to beats. Use quantize sets the grid and snap resolution to the value that is activated in the quantize presets pop-up menu. Adapt to zoom sets the grid and snap resolution to the horizontal zoom level. The more you zoom in on the event display, the finer the resolution. High zoom levels allow you to snap to 64th notes, low zoom levels allow you to snap to bars. Note: adapt to zoom is only available if bars plus beats is set as ruler display format. Note: you can assign key commands to the grid types in the key commands dialog in the edit category. If you select seconds as the display format, the following grid types are available. 1 millisecond sets the grid and snap resolution to 1 millisecond. 10 milliseconds sets the grid and snap resolution to 10 milliseconds. 100 milliseconds sets the grid and snap resolution to 100 milliseconds. 1000 milliseconds sets the grid and snap resolution to 1000 milliseconds. If you select timecode as the display format, the following grid types are available. Subframe sets the grid and snap resolution to 1 subframe. 1/4 frame sets the grid and snap resolution to 1/4 frame. 1/2 frame sets the grid and snap resolution to 1/2 frame. 1 frame sets the grid and snap resolution to 1 frame. 2 frames sets the grid and snap resolution to 2 frames. 1 second sets the grid and snap resolution to 1 second. Note: if you activate this as a display format and show timecode subframes is activated in the preferences dialog transport page, the frames will also display subframes. There are 80 subframes per frame. If you select samples as the display format, the following grid types are available. 1 sample sets the grid and snap resolution to 1 sample. 10 samples sets the grid and snap resolution to 10 samples. 100 samples sets the grid and snap resolution to 100 samples. 44,100 samples sets the grid and snap resolution to 44,100 samples. If you select 60 frames per second user as the display format, the following grid types are available. Subframe sets the grid and snap resolution to 1 subframe. 1/4 frame sets the grid and snap resolution to 1/4 frame. 1/2 frame sets the grid and snap resolution to 1/2 frame. 1 frame sets the grid and snap resolution to 1 frame. 2 frames sets the grid and snap resolution to 2 frames. 1 second sets the grid and snap resolution to 1 second. Note: if you activate this as a display format and show timecode subframes is activated in the preferences dialog transport page, the frames will also display subframes. There are 80 subframes per frame. Related links. Snap types menu. Zooming in the project window. Ruler display format menu. Snap types menu. Snap grid. Snap grid. In the project window and in some of the editors, you can have events, parts, and ranges snap to the grid. The grid is based on the following settings. Primary time format. You can set the primary time format on the transport panel. Snap type. You can select the snap type on the project window toolbar. Grid type. You can select the grid type on the project window toolbar. The snap type pop-up menu allows you to determine if the events snap to the grid, to other events, or to the cursor. Note: if you want your events to snap to the grid while you are editing, select one of the grid-related snap types, grid or grid relative. If you selected one of the grid-related snap types, the grid type pop-up menu on the project window toolbar defines what the events snap to. The values that are shown depend on the primary time format. If you select bars plus beats as a primary time format, you can select bar or beat as the grid type to snap your events to bars or beats. If you activate Use Quantize as the grid type, your events snap to the value that you set up in the Quantize presets pop-up menu. If you activate Adapt to Zoom as the grid type, snapping depends on the zoom level. If you select seconds, timecode, samples, or FPS user as the primary time format, the grid type pop-up menu shows the corresponding values so that you can snap your events to time positions. You can also set up a different grid in the following editors: Key Editor, Drum Editor, List Editor, Audio part editor. Sample editor. Note: in the project window and in the editors, the grid is represented by vertical grid lines in the event display. You can change the overlay intensity of the displayed grid lines by raising the grid overlay intensity in the Preferences dialog event display page. Related links. Snap function. Project setup dialog. Ruler. Snap types menu. Ruler modes. Selecting the primary time format. Grid type menu. Grid type menu. Crosshair cursor. Crosshair cursor. The crosshair cursor is displayed when working in the project window and in the editors, facilitating navigation and editing, especially for large projects. You can set up the crosshair cursor in the Preferences dialog editing tools page. You can set up the colors for the line and the mask of the crosshair cursor and define their width. The crosshair cursor works as follows. When the object selection tool or one of its subtools is selected, the crosshair cursor appears when you start moving / copying a part / event or when using the event handles. Crosshair cursor when moving an event. When the object selection tool, the split tool, or any other tool that makes use of this function is selected, the crosshair cursor appears as soon as you move the mouse over the event display. The crosshair cursor is only available for particular tools. The mute tool, for example, does not use a crosshair cursor as you click on an event to mute it. Note: if the key editor, the drum editor, or the audio part editor is open in the lower zone of the project window, and if link project and lower zone cursors is activated, the crosshair cursor is shown in the editor in the lower zone and in the project window. Snap grid. Edit history dialog. Edit history dialog. The edit history dialog contains a list of all your edits. This allows you to undo any actions in the project window as well as in the editors. To open the edit history dialog, select Edit History. Action. Shows the name of the action. Time. Shows the time when this action was performed. State. Shows the state of the action. Details. Shows further details and allows you to enter new text. Separator. Move the separator upwards to undo your actions. To redo an action, move the separator down. Note: you can also undo applied plugin effects or audio processes. However, we recommend to use direct offline processing window to modify or delete plugin effects or audio processes. Offline processing that you have applied permanently to the audio via the Make Direct Offline Processing Permanent function cannot be undone. Therefore, it is not shown in the Edit History dialog. Related links. Direct Offline Processing.
Uploading offline process permanent.
Crosshair cursor. Setting the number of maximum undo steps. Setting the number of maximum undo steps. You can limit the number of maximum undo steps. This is useful if you run out of memory, for example. Procedure. In the Preferences dialog, select General. Set the number in the maximum undo steps field. Edit history dialog. Color handling. Color handling. You can colorize events and tracks in Cubase. This contributes to an easier overview in the project window. Related links. Color picker. Project colors setup dialog. Event colors menu. Setting event colors to track colors. Colorizing events on the fly. Colorizing selected events or parts. Resetting the track color. Colorizing single tracks. Colorizing selected tracks. Color handling. User interface track and mix console channel colors. Automatically assigning colors to new tracks / channels. Setting the number of maximum undo steps. Colorizing selected tracks. Colorizing selected tracks. You can colorize selected tracks. Procedure. In the project window, deselect all events or parts. Select the tracks that you want to colorize. On the project window toolbar, select color for selected tracks or events. The Colorize pane opens. Note: if you want to select colors by names, activate the Select Colors by Name option in the Project Colors Setup dialog options page. Select a color. Result: the selected tracks are colorized and the events and parts get the track color. Note: if you assign a different color to individual events or parts with the Color tool, events or parts no longer follow color changes of the track. Related links. Colorizing events on the fly. Options tab. Color handling. Colorizing single tracks. Colorizing single tracks. You can colorize single tracks via the inspector or the track list. This is useful if you want to ensure that no other tracks, events, or parts are colorized accidentally. Procedure. Do one of the following. Select the track that you want to colorize and in the inspector, click Colorize Selected Track. Ctrl/CMD click the left area of the track list. The Colorize pane opens. Note: if you want to select colors by names, activate the Select Colors by Name option in the Project Colors Setup dialog options page. Select a color. Result: the track is colorized and any events or parts on that track get the same color. Note: if you assign a different color to individual events or parts with the Color tool, they no longer follow color changes of the track. Related links. Colorizing events on the fly. Options tab. Colorizing selected tracks. Resetting the track color. Resetting the track color. You can reset the color of a track to the default color. Procedure. In the project window, select the track that you want to reset to the default color and deselect all events or parts. On the project window toolbar, select color for selected tracks or events. In the Colorize pane, click Set Track Color to Default. Result: the default color is assigned to the selected track. Colorizing single tracks. Colorizing selected events or parts. Colorizing selected events or parts. You can colorize selected events or parts with select color for selected tracks or events. By default, events or parts follow the color of the corresponding track. However, you can overwrite this setting and, for example, select the same color for events or parts that reside on different tracks. Procedure. In the project window, select all events or parts that you want to colorize. On the project window toolbar, select color for selected tracks or events. The Colorize pane opens. Note: if you want to select colors by names, activate the Select Colors by Name option in the Project Colors Setup dialog options page. Select a color. Result: the selected events are colorized and no longer follow the color changes of the track. Related links. Colorizing events on the fly. Options tab. Event colors menu. Resetting the track color. Colorizing events on the fly. Colorizing events on the fly. You can colorize events or parts with the color tool. By default, events or parts follow the color of the corresponding track. However, you can override this setting and, for example, select the same color for events or parts that reside on different tracks. Procedure. In the project window toolbar, select the color tool. Do one of the following to select a tool color. Alt/Opt click an event or part to copy its color. Move the mouse pointer over the color tool and use the mouse wheel to step through the colors of the current color set. Optional, select the events or parts that you want to colorize with the object selection tool. This is only necessary if you want to colorize multiple events or parts. On the project window toolbar, select the color tool. Click the events or parts that you want to colorize. Result: the events or parts are colorized and no longer follow color changes of the track. Note: you can also Ctrl/CMD click an event or part with the color tool to open the Colorize pane or to select colors by names. Related links. Colorizing selected events or parts. Options tab. Event colors menu. Colorizing selected events or parts. Setting event colors to track colors. Setting event colors to track colors. You can set the color of events or parts to the track color. This is useful if you previously colorized events or parts with the color tool and you want them to follow the track color again. Procedure. In the project window, select the event or part that you want to set to the track color. On the project window toolbar, click Select Color for selected tracks or events. In the Colorize pane, click Set Event Color to Track. Result: the track color is assigned to the selected event or part. Related links. Colorizing events on the fly. Event colors menu. Colorizing events on the fly. Project Colors Setup dialog. Project Colors Setup dialog. The Project Colors Setup dialog allows you to set up colors for your project. To open the Project Colors Setup dialog, select Project Colors Setup. Related links. Color Picker. Color Set tab. Presets tab. Options tab. Setting event colors to track colors. Color Set tab.